Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Danielle Fisher, and I'm the event manager here at Eco Canada. And today's session is called Advancing Your Environmental Career Insights into the Bachelor's of Environmental Practice, BEP, at RRU. Before we start, I would like to take a moment to recognize the traditional Indigenous lands where Eco Canada's office is based in Calgary. At Eco Canada, we're committed to working towards respectful acknowledgement, collaboration, and reconciliation with Indigenous peoples across Canada. This starts with acknowledging our honor and privilege to live and work within the Treaty 7 territory. Today, we are presenting from the City of Calgary, home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Districts 5 and 6. We would also like to take this time to acknowledge traditional territories and oral practices of the Niitsitapi, home of the Blackfoot Confederacy, which includes the Siksika, the Piikani and the Kainai First Nations, and the Tsuut'ina and Goodstoney, which include Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Wesley First Nations. Before we start, there are a few housekeeping guidelines for today's session to ensure that everyone can enjoy and participate in our session effectively. All participants are muted, so please check your audio settings to ensure that you can hear us properly. If you're experiencing any technical issues, please use the question box and select Eco Canada, the organizer, and I will do all that I can to resolve the issue. Today's webinar is being recorded and will be made available on demand to you within the next 24 hours. Everyone who registered for the webinar will receive an email with a link to the video. Any questions that you have about the presentation or today's topic can be submitted through the chat box or question box. We will have dedicated time during the presentation to answer any questions from the audience and in the question and answer period at the end. Finally, we really want to know what you think about our webinars and how we can keep improving. You'll be sent a short survey after the webinar ends. Please let us know what you think or if you have any comments or suggestions about the webinar. Eco Canada's vision is to build the world's leading environmental workforce. Eco Canada seeks to help environmental workers succeed at each step of their career journey. To do this, Eco Canada has developed programs tailored to individuals at different stages of their career. For those looking to enter the environmental workforce, Eco Canada provides training through the BEAR program and accreditation for environmental programs at post-secondary institutions. Eco Canada also provides opportunities for new workers to break into the environmental sector through wage funding for co-op students and recent post-secondary graduates. For those already employed as environmental workers, Eco Canada provides the Environmental Professional, EP, and Environmental Professional in Training, EPT certifications, and EPT students. Lastly, Eco Canada provides opportunities for those with vast experience as environmental workers to provide guidance and direction to Eco Canada's products and programs through advisory committees and emeritus membership. Now I'd like to introduce you to our speakers. Joining us is Rhett Rylkoff. Rhett is the manager for the School of Environment and Sustainability at Royal Roads University. Rhett has a Bachelor's of Science in Land Use and Environmental Studies from the University of Saskatchewan and an MA in Environment and in Management from RRU. Next, we have Dr. Leslie King. Professor King is Professor, Program Head, and Director at the Canadian Centre for Environmental Education at RRU. Dr. King's life has been dedicated to environmental education and inspiring and empowering people to enter and excel in the environmental field, solving local to global environmental problems, including climate change and biodiversity loss. Her research and teaching interests are integrated environmental sciences and planning, Indigenous environmental perspectives, environmental justice, climate change and biodiversity, environmental governance, and knowledge systems using local and traditional ecological knowledge. We also have Dr. Liza Ireland joining. Dr. Ireland has taught at RRU in the School of Environment and Sustainability since 2010 for the Masters of Environmental Education and Communication, the Masters and Bachelors of Environmental Practice and MEM in China. With a PhD in Education for Sustainability, her focus is on developing systems thinking and a sustainability perspective to help us transform to a sustainable future. And last but certainly not least, we have Bridget Forsman. Bridget is an early career environmental educator, project coordinator, and communicator with over 7 years of applied experience in project leadership, program management, and place-based programming. She's passionate about fostering connections between individuals, wild spaces, and environmental educators, believing that a deep and meaningful relationship with nature can inspire impactful small-scale climate change. She is currently pursuing graduate studies at RRU in the Masters of Environmental Education and Communication and is dedicated to integrating nature-based education with community-driven climate solutions. And now I'll hand it over to our speakers so you can take it away, Rhett.
Great, thanks. Good to be here with everybody. Yeah, I'm just going to start off with the acknowledgement of the traditional lands because Royal Roads is out in Victoria and I'm in Victoria today. So I'd just like to take a moment to acknowledge that Royal Roads University acknowledges the campus is located on the traditional lands of the Lekwungen speaking peoples, the Songhees and Esquimalt First Nations. So it is with gratitude that we now learn and work here for the past, present, and future of Indigenous and non-Indigenous students, faculty, and staff come together. Haich Kasiyam. And then I'll turn it over maybe to Leslie and Liza here. Here's our opening slide.
Oh, Leslie, you're just muted.
I muted myself earlier. I knew that would be a problem. You'll have to excuse me. My dog's barking madly in the background here, so I'll try to keep her silent while we go. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us today and for your interest in the BEP, which is our short form of the BA and BSc in Environmental Practice at Royal Roads University. I'm Leslie King. I'm the program head of this program, and I'm delighted to join you today to talk about the program. With me is Dr. Liza Ireland, who teaches in the program and also mentors students and helps them create their programs in BEP. Liza, say hi. Okay, hi. Thanks, Daniel. Next slide, please. Okay, so first of all, we're going to go over the Royal Roads experience, which is quite unique in Canada, some program-specific information, then the application process. I assume that some of you here are interested in applying to the program. And even though the website says that the application deadline was October 6th, you still have time to apply. So we'll be talking about the process for applying. And then I hope we can answer your questions. And actually, I'm delighted to answer your questions as we go through. You don't need to wait till the end. If you have a question, Daniel is monitoring the Q&A or the chat box, and we'll answer your questions as soon as we can. Thanks very much. Next slide, please. So here's our wonderful campus. And I hate to show you this slide because actually this program is entirely online and you won't be at the university. But I do hope that you'll come and visit us since this will be your campus. And of course, we have this magnificent old growth forest and all kinds of trails through the forest that we always use regularly. We have the castle, of course, this symbol of colonial power, but it's also very beautiful. And we have the Esquimalt Lagoon, since we're right on the ocean. Although most of your work will take place down here in the right-hand corner on your computers, in your studies, or at home somewhere, or possibly in your offices. Next slide, please. Rhett, do you want to talk about this since you've been a student?
Yeah, sure. Definitely. Yeah, I've had the chance to be a student and take, as Danielle mentioned, the Master's in Environmental Management program. So yeah, so why explore RRU? You can see there's a few things here, but yeah, one of the things is really that sticks out for me is learning based on life, and not only the focus of the education, but how it fits in with your life and the type of format. With this program specifically being online, it really fits into people who might have a busy schedule, really has a lot of flexibility. So if you are, working full time during the days, you have time in the evenings or weekends, or really whenever you can manage to fit it in to do the learning. The courses all have their own website, so to speak. We have a platform called Moodle, and every course has its own course shell, as we call it, and an instructor. All the material and contents are there. Great resources, readings. There might be videos, some of the lecture information and the content matters there, so you can really learn at your own pace. And you're connected to, great instructors who are not only academics, but we also have scholar practitioners who are, we really endeavor to find instructors who are really active working in the field, so you can ensure that you're getting a really well-balanced education, and also the connections for life piece is really important. I found in my program particularly, I was in school with a lot of people who were already working in the field, and as I said, a lot of the instructors are working, and so it's a great program to take for networking, as opposed to maybe some other programs, bachelor's programs, where you might be in where everyone is just a student, maybe, and they're just starting off in their career path. But in the bachelor's environmental practice, you have a real broad range of people who you might be learning with. Some people who are, quite new to academia, and some people who have been working in the field for a number of years. So it's a really great place to meet people and network and make exactly some connections for life that can really help you on your career path.
Thank you. Anything to add, Bridget, since you're also a student in the school?
Yeah, I think that if you, what RRU does really well is if you're coming from a varied background, RRU takes your varied background into account. So I'm currently a master's student, but for myself, I kind of did two parts of an undergraduate degree, so I had a mishmash from two different universities. So on paper, a lot of universities would not have seen me as a good candidate, but they took into account my life experience, my work experience, and I was able to submit that all as a package upon application to a master's program. So if you're coming from an educational background where you're a little bit unsure, it's a great place to flex on the skills that you've learned in the world, and in the workforce, rather than just from an educational institution. And that's taken on board in your entrance into the program, and at times can be taken on board into awarding credits within your programs as well. So I always say to students when I'm talking to them, don't be afraid to apply. It's worth throwing your hat in the ring, even if you're a little scared because you come from a varied background.
And I assure you, Bridget was a brilliant candidate for our programs. Thank you, Bridget. Next slide, please, Daniel. Okay, one of the great things about Royal Roads University is that we're one of the few campuses, few universities in Canada who are designated changemaker campuses under the Ashoka U designation. This is an innovative approach to education that prepares students to address world problems. And as you know, many of those world problems are environmental, climate change, biodiversity, all kinds of land use issues pushing the boundaries of the planet. And to encourage others and act for the good of all. So this is a wonderful designation. And as you know, our motto is that we are change makers and that we educate people to be change makers. Thank you, Daniel. So I'll talk a bit about the program structure, and I'll include my dog and Liza in this. Okay, Sammy, you can get down. Sammy's not very well educated. Daniel, thank you. So Royal Roads has basically three different kinds of delivery models. Blended, which is face-to-face education with residencies where the students come to campus for 2 weeks of on-campus education. Then we have fully online on-campus programs, and then these programs, which are fully online. And these programs are really designed to accommodate the schedules of working people. And so I think this makes our classes so much more interesting because the students come from a variety of backgrounds. Most of them are employed in the environmental sector or are transitioning into the environmental sector. So the programs are fully online and very flexible. So you get to do what you want to do with your education, either in the courses that you take or the times when you take those courses, the time that you take to finish the program, and the topics that you deal with in the program. Daniel, thank you. Yes, this looks like a very busy slide, but it talks a little about what goes on in your course. So discussion posts, you will be discussing issues on the Moodle platform with your fellow students, some reflective activities, some real life assignments, feedback from your peers, team activities and assignments, readings, feedback from your instructor, and the whole process deals with building shared knowledge with your instructor and your fellow students. Daniel, thank you. Don't hesitate to ask questions as we go. Thank you. So it's the Bachelor of Arts or the Bachelor of Science is one program, but with 2 credentials. It's a fully online, 60 credit, part-time, flexible program. Up to 15 credits can be transferred into the program from previous education. Bridget, do you want to say something about that?
So there's sort of 2 sections to the program. There's kind of your core courses, which we call Block A, and then your elective courses that we call Block B. When you enter the program, you can transfer up to 15 credits from another institution into the Block B section. So some students might be coming from a university that has a preset transfer agreement. So you come in with those additional 15 credits automatically. Or if you've taken courses here and there, or you did a certificate over here, 15 credits of that certificate can be transferred into the program upon entry. And then also once you're in the program itself, I always think that this is a really positive thing about the program. You can kind of double credential at the same time. So once you get into that Block B section, say you're really interested in a monitoring certificate at UVic. You can do that monitoring certificate at UVic, and you can transfer 15 credits of that certificate into your Bachelor of Environmental Practice degree as well. So you come at the other end, and you might end up with 2 credentials at the other end of the BEP program, which obviously looks great on a resume, looks great for applying for grad school.
I'm just going to
Hey,
jump in here for a second, Bridget. I just have a question. So these credits that are transferred from other universities, are these only universities in Canada, or is this universities for international?
It can be international universities as well.
Okay. And then we have a second question from Brett, and Brett is asking, is there a difference if you have RRU course credits? I'm not sure what that means. I'm hoping you can help me
you
out
can
As
there.
in,
transfer those in too. Sorry,
Okay,
Bridget.
perfect.
yeah. If you've taken courses at RRU that hit the requirements of being courses at a 3rd or 4th year undergraduate level, those can likely be transferred in as well.
And
And
that's it
I'll
for
add
questions.
that, thank you. Thanks, Daniel. I'll add that UVic is the University of Victoria, affectionately known as UVic. Okay, now one of the great things about this program is that students can take courses from universities all across Canada. We have a list of approved courses that you can take, and if you need to take a course, if you feel that you need to take a course that relates to your interests that is not on the list, you can ask for permission to take that from any institution, as long as it meets the requirement of being at the 3rd or 4th year level for the program. So that gives you an experience of other universities as well as Royal Roads. Then at the end of the program, students get to choose either a practicum or a research paper. And Dr. Liza teaches those courses, so I'm going to ask her to talk a little bit about them. Thanks, Liza.
Thanks. Thanks, Leslie. So yeah, it depends completely on what you're looking to do in catering this degree to your particular interest areas. If you want to further your skill set in a certain area of environmental practice, you might choose the practicum, where you'll work with an organization of your choosing to set up a particular practicum experience where you will have a supervisor in that organization who will set up your opportunities to break into a new area you haven't explored before. So you might get experience in environmental monitoring, or you might get experience in food sciences, or you might get experience in any of the areas that relate to environmental practice. And that's going to help you build your career post degree, showing that you've got experience of 75 hours in this particular area. In some cases, students have been working in an organization in a certain area, but they would like to transition to a different area within their organization. So this gives them that opportunity to gain the experience that will allow them to transition. In other cases, people are interested in going into something completely new. They have no experience in the environmental field. So this really sets up an opportunity to work with an NGO they're interested in, or in a field that they think is really going to further their coursework and give them the practical skills they want. Excuse me. And so when you do that practicum course, because it's 75 hours, you also take an extra course in your program to fulfill your criteria. If you do the research practicum, it takes place over, the research paper, it takes place over 6 weeks, and that gives you an opportunity to go in depth researching a particular topic. Typically, it's secondary research, so you'll look at at data which has already been published to really understand more deeply a particular area. So if you've got a passion for beavers, you might want to do a research paper in beavers. Or if you really are interested in climate change or water availability in northern Canada, you would then work with the literature around those particular topics. And the course is set up to really pace you through the development of a research paper. It may seem daunting to begin with, but it's really well structured so that you put together a proposal first, and then you put together a table of contents as to what sort of topics will be covered within your paper and what resources can help you explore each of those areas. Excuse me. You get feedback all the way through, and then eventually you'll have a research paper at the end of that research course.
Can I just interrupt for a sec? You said it was over 6 weeks. It's actually 6 credits, and it's over 2 semesters. Whereas
that's
the
right,
practicum,
6 months. Yeah.
6 months. That's right. The practicum
Thank you,
is
Leslie.
3
Yeah.
credits. Okay.
6 weeks would be very quick.
It's okay. It takes a village. Thanks, Liza. Okay, Daniel.
In with a question here from Joan Ray, and they're asking, I have a degree in business and a diploma in environmental services. I am now working for an environmental services firm after spending 10 years in the engineering services industry. Would you recommend me to take the bachelor's degree or the master's program?
I'd recommend the master's program. There's no point in, repeating a credential you already have. I think the rest of my panelists would agree with me, but I like aiming for, the highest level you can go for. So I think you should do, and we do have the MEP, which is the Masters in Environmental Practice. And we actually have webinars on the MEP that you can access through the Royal Roads website. And if you would like more information about the MEP, you'll find my credentials and email address at the end of this. And you can just email me and I'd be happy to talk to you about it. Hope that answers your question. I'm a bit definite about that, but anyone else want to add anything to that?
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you, Leslie. And like, if you already have a bachelor's level degree and you have some experience in the environmental field, I think you'd be a good candidate for getting into the MEP program.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thanks, Daniel. Moving along. Okay, so the goal of the program is to really add to your environmental knowledge, but as well to build on your analytical and critical thinking abilities. Um, and at the same time, you build a network of professionals. So you really join a community of practice with peers focused on environmental goals. The program aligns, since we have a partnership with Eco Canada, and this is a very productive partnership, the program aligns with the needs and requirements of the environmental professions in Canada, and it also aligns with Eco Canada's occupational standards for the environmental sector. So I like to say that our partnership with Eco Canada keeps us real and keeps us focused on the environmental sector in Canada and beyond. Thanks, Daniel. So the program really is designed for professionals who are already working in the environmental field or people wanting to transition into the environmental field. I've been designing and creating environmental programs all over the world all my career. And my goal is to get as many people into the environmental sector where we need all the people we can have to solve our pressing environmental problems. The program's also for those who want to move up in their environmental career into management and leadership positions and the whole wide array of employment in the growing environmental sector. And also university and college grads from different disciplines, from non-environmental disciplines, as I said, who are transitioning or want to transition into environment and therefore are seeking a second degree in environment. Now, I know I've already suggested that you go on to a master's program, but that really depends on what you have in your background. Thank you, Daniel. Next slide. Okay, I think what I'll do is ask Liza to take this. Liza will be your mentor in the program, so she'll be guiding your course selection and what you do throughout the program. Go ahead, Liza.
Thanks so much, Leslie. I must say, I do this with the brilliant assistance of our administrative staff.
Well, I
Bridget
was
has
going
been
to
doing
say
this.
Bridget will have a lot to say about this also. So,
Yeah,
Bridget, I invite you to add to this slide
yeah.
also.
Bridget has been absolutely key in supporting my insight as well, as she's been at this far longer. Um, and I believe Bridget will be transitioning to a new position in the university, but we'll have someone equally brilliant to step in under her mentorship, I think. So basically, as we've been mentioning, you've got Block A courses, which are really in once you join BEP in the first and second year of your BEP program. So you'll choose 10 out of the 11 courses that are taught by Royal Roads faculty. And these 10 or 11, the 11 courses, you choose 10 of them, are in the variety of areas. So you'll get a background in sustainability and leadership, environmental management, environmental economics, ethics, business, environmental policy, environmental law, and global processes. So it really gives you a brilliant foundation and cross section of courses to then use as you move into your Block B courses, where you have a chance to really streamline your degree according to your particular areas of interest. And this is in your second and third year, and there are 8 or 9 courses depending on if you do which capstone you do. So if you do the research practicum, then the research paper, excuse me, you'll take 8 of those courses. If you do the practicum, you'll take 9 of the courses. And so this is where we were talking before about choosing from universities across Canada. And you can even study abroad to tailor your degree to your specific Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science interests. I think the next slide then goes into our study abroad. Does anyone have any questions about the block
Can
A or B?
Can I just clarify something on the slide? We've got year 1 and 2 and year 2 and 3. This is only a 2-year program. This is a degree
Right.
completion program. It's 60 credits. You can take longer than 2 years to take all those credits, but it really is the equivalent of a 2-year program. Thanks, Liza.
Thanks,
Okay,
Leslie.
Daniel, next slide. How to apply? Who wants to take that on? Either Rhett or Bridget?
Yes, I think this one is for me here. So
Okay.
I'm just going to pop a link in the chat here. I'm not sure if it'll share directly, but maybe Danielle, you can pass that on. That's just a link to our program page online. And if that link's not working, you can just, go online and Google RRU, Bachelor's of Environmental Practice, and you'll quickly be able to find our program page. And as you scroll down, there's some information about the program there, overview, program description, the courses, etc. So, regardless, it's a good place to go and check out for more information. But you'll see on the left-hand side, as you're scrolling down the page, there's an apply now button. And so once you click on that, that will take you to essentially our application portal. And so there's some instructions there. So students will, or I guess interested students will apply online. So there's some information on the page there. There's essentially a spot where you'll click to start your application, and it guides you through the process there. You just select the program you're applying to. There's an online application form that you'll fill out. There's an application fee, and then there'll be some instructions on how to submit your documents. So whether it's your credentials from other institutions or a personal letter or what, you'll submit all that online, and there's essentially a guide there to help guide you through that process. And if at some point you do have questions about the application process, somebody from our admissions team essentially will be standing by to help you and guide you through that process. And as Leslie was mentioning earlier, if we have an advertised deadline for applying, but if for some reason you happen to miss that date, or your application's in progress, it's still possible to get in before the start date of the program. But I would just advise getting your application started, even if you don't have all your documents together to submit them, maybe perhaps on time for the deadline. Just get the application started, and you can sort of get your necessary pieces of that application package together as you are able, and then we'll do our best to try and get you in to the program.
Thank you, Rhett. That's great. Daniel, next slide, please. Okay, carry on, Rhett.
Yeah, so Royal Roads, we have essentially an interesting admissions model. So we have standard admissions for the BA or BSc. Maybe I'll just read off the slide here in case it's a bit hard for some people to see. But for the BA, a minimum of 60 post-secondary arts or science credits with a minimum GPA of a B. So that's a 3 out of 4.33 GPA from a recognized post-secondary institution, or completion of the Certificate in Environmental Practice program at Royal Roads University with a minimum GPA, again, of a B average. So there's also in brackets here, the Certificate in Environmental Practice is no longer offered at RRU. However, graduates of CEP may be eligible for admission to BEP. So for any students have taken that certificate program in the past, this would apply to you. For the Bachelor's of Science pathway or stream, minimum of 60 post-secondary arts and science credits. 18 must be science credits, 9 of which must be at the second year level with a minimum GPA of a B. So that's like a B average from a recognized post-secondary institution. So basically this is, you're looking at a completion program. So you finished years 1 and 2 at another university, or perhaps you've completed a college certificate and you've got 2 years under your belt. You're coming in essentially for years 3 and 4 of undergraduate degree. Next slide, please. Okay, and so the other piece to the admissions is our flexible admissions. And so this is for people who maybe don't have that traditional university background where you've taken the 1 or 2 years or you have some sort of credential to put towards it, but maybe you've been working in the field and you have a lot of relevant experience that you've accumulated over the years. And so we consider people for admission to the program based on this as well. So applicants can be assessed for admission on the basis of their skills, knowledge, and background developed outside traditional learning structures or through a combination of academic and non-academic experience. So our flexible admissions of work or a combination of academic achievement, work experience, or volunteer experience, or an ability to demonstrate the competencies expected of a graduate with a 2-year diploma. Candidates that only miss the GPA requirements but otherwise have the credits required for entry will need at least 3 years of work or relevant volunteer experience. And so, I mean, you can find this information on the website as well. But, you know, if you have questions about that, maybe you think you're not quite sure if you fit or if your background is relevant or whatnot, again, just, you know, reach out and we can chat with you about that and guide you on.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Leslie.
Thanks very much, Rhett. I'd just like to add that this flexible admission process is a really great aspect of Royal Roads because it means that we don't necessarily require you to have the bureaucratic qualifications listed in most university admissions processes, but that we will count your experience. So I actually love this aspect of Royal Roads. And you don't decide. If you don't meet the standard admission criteria, then admissions will look at flexible admissions for you, and you can be admitted through flexible admission. Thanks very much, Rhett. Okay, Daniel, next slide, please. Okay, this is the official stuff.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rhett. You can go over this.
Technical details. Yeah. So earlier I mentioned when you're putting in your application, it's an online application. There's a fee of $136.69, essentially just for, you know, processing your application and having people over here review it. You'll need supporting documents if you're coming in under standard admission, things like your official transcripts from other educational institutions. And then if you're coming in under flexible admissions, you might submit official transcripts, a detailed resume outlining your work experience, your background, a personal statement about why you feel this program is right for you, perhaps, or statement of intent where you demonstrate why you want to take this program and what you want to do with the learning, and then 2 letters of reference as well for the flexible admission.
Thanks, Rhett. And I'd like to explain that that photograph is of our Japanese garden, one of the oldest Japanese gardens in Canada. It's absolutely gorgeous. And we've just opened a tea room in the Japanese garden. So when you come to visit us, you can go through our fabulous gardens, of which the Japanese garden is one. Thanks. Next slide, please. Okay, so the next intake for us is the January intake. And as I said, the deadline that's published in our website is October 6th, and that is long past, but there are certainly always spaces available. And so when you apply, make sure that the admissions advisors, and they are very understanding, friendly people, know that you want to come in January. Or if you don't, if you want to come in for a later intake, that's fine too. There's another intake starting in May. Next slide, please. Rhett.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so this slide, again, some of the text might be a bit small, but this is about services available to you. So there are financial resources available to you, things like loans. I mean, student loans, of course, are available across the country. So there's a variety of ways to get student loans. There are bursaries, scholarships, and other awards available, student research scholarships, other types of funding, and emergency funding at times that is available for students if, you know, something something's going on, sometimes life happens and students experience, unfortunate situations, whether it's with funding or just life or what. So there is sometimes emergency funding available. So the email address there is learn.more@royalroads.ca. So if you have questions about maybe how to get student loans or what types of other financial resources might be available to you, I just encourage you to use that email address, and somebody from our team can point you in the right direction. There's also a phone number there. Maybe I could pop that in the chat. It's a bit small, but there's a toll-free number, 877-778-6227. Oh, we've gone to the next slide. There we go. Yeah, and then we have enrollment advisors. Our enrollment services can help you narrow down program options, answer questions about the application, and connect you with former students even potentially, or reach out to us as well, and we can point you in the right direction for that. Thanks.
Great. Thank you very much. And thanks to all of you for your wonderful contribution to this webinar. And we're open for questions. If you have questions now, we've got 20 minutes, so please ask them. And please also don't hesitate to get in touch with us. I see actually our email information is not up here, but Daniel, perhaps you could put up my email address.
Yeah, I certainly will. I'll put that in the chat, Leslie. No problem at all.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for this webinar. It sounds like this program is incredibly flexible. So I think that the opportunity to take control of your own education is really a great opportunity for anyone that's on this call. I did have a question about studying abroad. Someone is asking if there's an opportunity. Is there a partner university in Europe? Is there an opportunity for them to study abroad with any of these programs?
Yeah, there are lots of partnerships that Royal Roads has with other universities. Some of those are research partnerships, some of those are educational partnerships. And that's something that the international department, what is it, at Royal Roads can help you with. But there certainly are opportunities for you to do study abroad. And sometimes those are available as your practicum experience or even your research paper experience in BEP. Anyone got anything to add, Bridget?
Yeah, I can add some stuff to that as well. So there are a bunch of partnership agreements with universities across Canada that you can automatically transfer into the BEP program. For taking courses at a university that we don't have a partnership agreement with, say a university in Europe or the United States, I've seen students take courses in both. All that would be required is that you supply us with some information about the courses that you're going to be taking from that university, namely, a course outline, some information about the credits, a rationale for why you want to take those courses. And then we have a process for reviewing those courses to see if those can be applied as credit to the BEP program and how many credits would transfer over. In Canadian universities, it's obviously a little bit more straightforward for the credit transfer. And often we already have, a transfer agreement in place for a number of credits that are applied. So like some universities for a full course apply 1 credit, but that equals 3 credits at RRU, or some universities do 1.5 credits. So we do have to take a look at the course in full to understand how the credits would transfer in. But it's definitely not outside of the realm of possibility. I had a student last year that did a 3-course certificate program at a university in Germany, and those credits have been applied to her BEP program.
Thank you, Bridget.
Liza?
Hi, I just noted that I put in the chat that we've got a link to study abroad in our BEP website. And so you can follow that link, and there's a number of different options you can check out there, whether it's taking specific courses or the variety of options we've got. And just to underscore what Bridget was just saying, these courses that you take abroad are ones that apply to your Block B courses, those elective ones that you decide you want to take to fill out your program.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We do have a question from John Ray, and they're asking, is this a PGWP eligible program?
I don't know what that is.
Okay, we'll try to follow up with that.
Thank you.
We have a question from Brett, and they're asking, has anyone used their research paper as a professional work product while
Yeah.
applying to the College of Applied Biology?
Yeah. Our programs do not give you RP Bio or the agriculture one or any of those designations, but they can be used as part of your qualifications for RP Bio or the others. And so if you wanted to use your research paper as part of your qualifications to get those designations, yes, that's entirely possible.
I'm just going to add a little bit more to that. For the RP Bio and RB Tech, I would highly recommend reaching out to the College of Applied Biology. You can have the courses assessed on an individual course basis to see which ones will be applied to an RP Bio or an RB Tech application. Because we're not a program that is aligned with the requirements of the College of Applied Biology, only some of our courses will apply to that sort of application. So it's highly likely you'd have to take additional courses, or in that block B section where you kind of get to build your own adventure. If you've been in contact with the College of Applied Biology, you can kind of game out your course calendar to be taking courses from universities across Canada that the College of Applied Biology recognizes.
Interesting. We did get here back from John Ray, and they're saying the PGWP is a postgraduate work permit.
Ah, Bridget.
Sure, yeah. So the stuff with the postgraduate work permit, because a lot of the policies around that are in flux, both from a provincial and a federal perspective right now, we can't make any guarantees about our programs being applicable for those. If you want more detail about how to navigate through that, we do have some people at RRU that specialize in immigration services for students. I can pop the email in the chat for you, and they can give you more detail about that. Because it is in such a state of flux, I'm remiss to say anything in detail about it because I don't want to be giving you information that turns out to be incorrect.
Thank you. I could not have said that better myself. Thank you very much, Bridget.
Thanks, Bridget. We do have another question. Since it is an online course, can we take it from countries outside of Canada? They're talking specifically about the BEP or the MEP, whichever one qualifies for that.
Yes, I have had students take this from Africa, from various European countries, from the US. So the answer is yes.
They can take it anywhere. It's
Yeah,
completely flexible.
yep, this is a portable program.
As
We
long
do.
as you can get internet, you can be in your
Yeah,
course.
that's right.
That sounds wonderful. I'm just going to give it a few more seconds here to hear if we have any more questions coming through. It looks like someone's typing right now. And they're gone. And I think that brings us to the end of this. So I have dropped Leslie and everyone else's relevant emails into the chat. Once I send out the survey, I'm also going to attach a contact card for everyone that was on this call, so that you can reach out to them specifically with any questions that you have. Thank you so much to our panelists for this wonderful presentation. It sounds like this course is super flexible and super interesting. So I think that everyone should take advantage of it. Any last words from our panelists before we log off?
No, thank you very much, Daniel. And thank you to all of our colleagues on this call. And I hope to see you in the program. Thanks very much for joining us. Take care. Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, Leslie. Bye. Have a lovely day.
Bye.
Now.
Bye-bye.